What's up, you guys? It's Chelly, the Forex TradeHER here, heavy on the her in this very much so male-dominant industry. Y'all know the vibes, and if you don't know the vibes, just come get a feel of it. As you can see by this title, we're going to be going over how to spot a trend. I'm already on TradingView, as you can see. I am on my favorite pair, NZD/USD. I've been trading this pair literally for 3 years now. This is one of the pairs that I first started with, and I pretty much stuck with it the entire journey. If you are a beginner in Forex and you're not sure of how to approach the market or how to start or how to go about, figuring out what works for you, I highly suggest you pick one pair and that's all, and you stick with that. You don't need a lot of pairs to make money in this market. Also, you guys, this video is going to be super exciting. I was supposed to make it a while ago, but I've been having some problems. I actually just got my wisdom teeth pulled and my mouth is still hurting, so bear with me. But we're going to get right into it, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. So, how to spot a trend. First things first, you guys. You can, I'm going to start on a higher time frame, and I'm actually going to delete some of these drawings because there's a lot on this chart that you can't see. And I'm going to go to the day chart first because, of course, we know whatever is happening on the higher time frames is what will happen on the lower time frames. So here is the day chart, you guys. Spotting a trend is not that difficult, you guys. I think the hardest part that people struggle with is how to go about finding out where that reversal will take place, because obviously nothing is going to go down forever or up forever. We can catch the up and the down trend. So I think the hardest part is figuring out when a trend is over. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to just go over how to spot a trend. If you need help with figuring out whether a trend is going to reverse, I will leave a link in the description for a video covering continuation patterns and, continuous trends and things of that nature. So yeah, as far as recognizing a trend though, you guys, always start on a higher time frame. Because like I said, whatever happens on a higher time frame is going to happen on the lower time frame at a faster rate. So spotting trends. This is for my note takers. Note takers are money makers. So start on a higher time frame. Second thing would be, Second thing would be whatever happens on the higher time frame happens on the lower time frame faster. The third thing I would say is you want to get used to recognizing higher highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. And I will show you that in this video. I'm going to actually there we go. So higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. Higher highs are for your uptrend, and lower highs and lower lows are for your downtrend. So those are my notes for you guys. Let me just make sure this isn't all crazy and like in the way of our stuff. There we go. So here is your notes. Take a screenshot, pause it, or do whatever, because eventually I might have to delete that. But now let's start with recognizing a downtrend, since right now this is a very much so downtrend. I'm going to use my highlighter tool, and I'm actually going to start at this point because this is like almost the highest point. I mean, obviously I can go a little higher, but I'm just going to start right here. So this would be what we will call the breakout of this little ranging point. So if we notice right here, and I'm going to, so if we notice right here, price was pretty much sticking in one area, and it did that all the way up until it finally broke out. There was a little bit of slippage right here, but overall it's still what I would consider a ranging market because it stayed in literally one area. And then at that point, price broke out of that and, it pushed down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that box, but I just wanted to show you that the reason why I picked this point is because this was like about the start of when price actually broke out of this specific area. So now we have right here our very top point of where the downtrend took place. So this will be what we would consider a higher high, you guys. And the reason it's a higher high is because it's the highest point. So this is the highest point, and this is a higher high. Now from that point, the market sold. Now what this means is that is the top, the peak of that uptrend that was taking place. Now, since it's going in a downtrend, the market is going to start producing lower highs and lower lows. Your lower high is actually the point that is above. So it's basically a high point, but it's lower than the previous high. Oopsie. So this will be our lower high. And again, this is because this is a lower point, but still a high point in the market. And this will make more sense when I show you what a lower low is. So now we have our higher high. This point right here can be considered a lower low. And that's because it is lower than the high. And it's at the bottom. So now we have our highest point, the very, very peak of where the downtrend took place. From that point, the first lower low would have been made here. And then following that, we have what we consider a lower high because it is lower than that previous high. Now we're going to figure out what our next lower low is, which will be right here. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to duplicate it, or clone it, I should say. So now we have our next lower low. And again, this is a lower low because it's lower than this low and it's going in a downtrend. So the further down we go, the lower it gets. And now we're going to find our next lower high. Now, you could consider this point a lower high. Me personally, I like to go to the highest point. So I would consider this my lowest high above anything. And again, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to clone it. So let's run it back. So we have our higher high, lower low, lower high because it's lower than this previous high, lower low because it's lower than this previous low. And then again, we have a lower high. Now, you might be thinking like, okay, Michelle, or y'all know I'm Chelly. You might be thinking that this is above this. So how is it a lower high? Well, the reason it's still considered a lower high is because if we take our trend line and we start from our very top point where we even started recognizing the trend, if we draw our arrow down, it still respects the downtrend, and this high is still about lower or even equivalent, depending on how you want to look at it, but it's still at the same level. Now, if price were to have pushed past this point, then at that point, it might not be considered a lower high. It really just depends on, what happens at that point with price, because it could be a fake out or something due to economic data releases. So in that point, you would have to see what's happening. But going off of what's happening right now, we have a higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then our next lower low will be down here. Oops. And again, I'm gonna just clone this and put this down here. So now hopefully this is making more sense. And then again, this will be your next lower high, your lower low, and so on and so forth. And this overall lets you know that the market is in a downtrend. Excuse me. Now, what I will say is price is in a downtrend. And if you notice, I actually just drew out a channel pattern. Now, for those that are experienced with patterns, you know that channels usually range back and forth. So this is considered a downward channel. And you want to get used to recognizing stuff like this. So what I will say is we have our lower low that is produced right here. Now, me being me and with the knowledge and experience I have, my first instinct would be, before entering a trade in today's market, the first thing I will want to see is, one, what is this candle that's open going to do? We're on a day chart, so that candle has 5 hours, 5.5 hours before it closes fully. But the reason why I wouldn't take this trade yet is because I understand that channels move back and forth. There is a possibility that this lower low can push up and the next lower high will be somewhere up here or just somewhere in between, you know, this channel. It could be, you know, equivalent to this level right here, or it could go past it. And then once it gets up to this point, then, you know, that's when price can go back down. So in these moments, you always want to wait for your candles to fully close so you can see what happens. And this is where you also want to make sure you have knowledge on engulfing patterns, star patterns, triangle patterns, any form of a candlestick pattern that will let you know what is going to take place next in the market. So overall, this is how you recognize trends, you guys. It's super, super easy. You get used to it the more and more you practice it out. I actually always tell my students to use a highlighter tool, or you can even use the ellipse tool. It works the same way. Just highlight wherever you want to, you know, showcase. And, you know, that'll allow you to get used to recognizing, you know, these overall trends. And not also to mention, you can do this on any time frame. Personally, I recommend starting with the day chart though, because the day chart is really just going to tell you, you know, what to expect on every time frame below it. So my best advice would be to start with the day chart. If you're into more fast-paced trading, then, you know, at least just use the day chart to see what the overall trend is. And then, you know, you can go down to like the 15-minute or whatever time frame you prefer. But this works on any time frame for the most part. The day chart just really tells you exactly what to expect versus you having to, you know, predict anything or, you know, things of that nature, because we don't predict, we literally go by what we see. So I'm going to do one more example. Oops, sorry, my alert is going off. I'm going to do one more example, and I'm actually going to do it on a pair on my watch list. I'll do GBP USD. I haven't looked at this pair in a very long time. I've actually only been trading NZD, Ripple, and NAS. I threw Litcoin on here because I'm trying to, I'm actually probably not even going to do what I was trying to do, so I'm going to take that off. But I was trying to find different brokers, and I thought I was going to have to let Ripple go, but I don't have to let it go anymore. So I don't care about Litcoin anymore. I want to stick to Ripple. But anyways, that is off track. Let's go through one more example. GBP USD and NZD USD fairly move together for the most part. I've been noticing that over some time. So this is actually another downtrend. I wonder if, okay, so here's an uptrend. We're just gonna go back and look at this point so I can show you how to do it with a uptrend. So now going back to our notes, and I'm just gonna put this on here just so I'm not confusing myself, because the lower highs, lower lows, higher highs, all that stuff can get confusing, and I've been trading for 3 years. So just for the sake of me making sure I don't explain things wrong, I'm just gonna put this back on here. Uptrend, higher highs, lower highs, and I'll throw the downtrend on there just for the sake of it. I'm a very visual person. So there is that. So I'll have that just so I can make sure I'm not tongue twisting anything. And I'm gonna pull these down some. If y'all ever want to know about my indicators, I do have a video linked. I do have a video on my channel covering those. I don't rely heavily on indicators, and I don't expect y'all to either. So yeah, I'm more price action, and I react off what I see. So anyways, now, just like I was saying on NZUSD, how we want to find the very top part of where, you know, the trend takes place. Now we're going to find the very lowest point where the sale completed and now the buy happened. So right here is where our first lower low is. And I really, no, I'm going to say lower low because it's definitely a lower low. And the reason it's a lower low is because it's the lowest point in the market, and it's the point where, you know, the buy took place. And you might have also heard the terms swing low, swing high. Which is swing low will be for your buy, swing high will be for your sell. And when I say swing low, I mean that very lowest point where your buy takes place, and the swing high was where we saw that sell start to take place. So this would be your lowest point in the market where the sale completed and the buy took place. From that point on, you'll start to recognize higher highs and lower highs. So this will be the lowest low. And from this point, this will be your higher high. And then from there, you'll have your lower high, because this is a lower point in the market, but it's going in an uptrend. And then again, we have a higher high, lower high. You know what, actually, you guys, because these are at the same level, I'm not going to consider this point. It's still going in an uptrend, but because it's at the same level, I'm not going to put two dots next to each other. So what I'm going to do is you have your lower low and your higher high, and then your lower low, your lower high, and then we're going to skip this point and I'm going to go right here. Now, again, this is at about the same level, but because it's still following the overall uptrend, this is our lower high. From that point, you have your higher high, and then you have another lower high, and then you have another higher high, and then you have another lower high. Now, let me label these for you. Higher high. And then I'm going to clone this. Actually, no, I can't clone it because I need it to be LH. All right, so lower low, higher high, lower high, and then another lower high. And then our higher high, and then another lower high. And I'm going to clone this again. And again, and you should do this until you get used to it. Obviously, I don't do this anymore because I can recognize it without, you know, having to draw it out. But in the beginning, you want to do everything necessary so that you're not confusing yourself, and you know you're able to make sure it's an easy process. So now we see we have an uptrend happening. We have our lowest low right here, and then, you know, we have our higher high, lower high, lower high, higher high, lower high, higher high, lower high. Now, like I was saying, you guys, even though these are a bit scattered, they're still considered lower highs because they're going in an overall uptrend, and it's the lowest point after that previous high. Does that make sense? If it does not make sense, leave a comment and I will be more than happy to break it down a step further for you. But this should make sense to you guys. And like I pointed out on NZUSD, the market tends to move in a channel at times. So this is an upwards channel. And it literally went all the way up to this point before price started to sell out. And again, this is another point where price was ranging before it finally broke out in its sell. And just to recap, that swing low, swing high, this will be your swing high point. And you could even consider this point the swing high because price never broke this level. And because it never broke this level, that lets me know that this is our swing high. This is the highest high. And this is where price is going to reverse. So we have our higher highs right here. And from that point on, the market reversed and it started to produce the lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, a lower high, and a lower low. So I hope this video makes sense, you guys. If there's any questions or if you have anything that you want me to touch base on in the next video, leave it in the comments for me and I will add it to my lovely list and I will make that video for you. If you enjoyed this video, you better give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because there's a lot of y'all that's watching but not subscribed. And that's not fair. Like, come on now. So I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a very profitable week. And I hope that you don't let your losses defeat you. If you're in a losing streak, don't beat yourself up about it. Every lesson is a blessing in disguise. Because when you learn from it, you can apply it to your next trade and you'll reap the rewards. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next video.